my name is Tara Bentley, and I'm the Executive Director for the Indiana Association of Home Educators, otherwise known as the IAHE.
And my name is Courtney Nalen. I am a homeschooling mom of two who also works full-time outside of my home and a volunteer with the IAHE.
Together, we're your co-hosts for Season 2 of the Homeschool Indiana podcast. We'll be here each week sharing information to help you homeschool, keep you updated on what you need to know, and have some fun along the way. So let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Homeschool Indiana podcast. I'm Tara Bentley. I'm so excited to have you back with us. And I have a special guest today. It's Jen Tousey with the DAR here in Indiana. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
I know that most of you won't get to see us on camera because you're probably listening to our podcast, but apparently we mentally decided to wear the same kind of color palette today. So I think that's great.
Yep. Well, great minds, great minds.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell everybody a little bit about you, and then we'll dive right in. So Jen started her career as an educator. She taught health education, career and life management, and home economics and home cultures. Somewhere along the way, she became interested in living history and wrote a book about how Thanksgiving became a national holiday. Jen became a historian focused on aspects of the material culture of early America, including clothing, foodways, and even early American taverns. She currently serves DAR as the Carolyn Scott Harrison Chapter Librarian, the Betsy Ross Sewing Guild Chairman, the Colonial Fair Chair, and the Indiana DAR Sewing Guild Chair. Wow. You're a busy mama.
I am. And also, just FYI, I homeschooled my first daughter, and we did that in the state of Indiana before we moved to LA. Fun fact.
That's awesome. That's so great. I mean, obviously, we're pro homeschooling around here. That's what we do. So, and you have done so much, and I obviously had to do a little bit of editing in your bio to take it out just a little bit, but just absolutely fascinating. And to become a historian focused on material culture.
Right.
What does that mean? Can you explain that?
I sure can. It's a fun term, actually. It's the hands-on. It's the context of it. So, I am all for names and dates and events, but to be honest with you, my brain is not the brain that remembers all of those names and dates together. I need the story. I need the context for me to remember. That's how I learn. And so material culture is taking the pots and the pans, the clothing, and learning about those things. And they're not just something you stick in a museum and a snapshot of time. You have to know the context of them. And I think that's what really appealed to me. Yeah.
Oh, I think that is so fascinating. All right, well, let's share a little bit about the DAR. I'm a member. You're a member. I've only been a member for a few years, so I know you have a lot more that you can share with our listeners about that. The official explanation, the DAR, is the Daughters of the American Revolution, a nonprofit organization that promotes education, historic preservation, and patriotism. And women who can prove their family's lineage to a revolutionary patriot are welcome to apply. So that's the clinical description. But what led you to the DAR? When did you become a member, and what led you to join?
Sure. Well, I will say we're over 1 million strong nationwide, and that is starting from 1890 when we were founded, which is kind of fun to know in of itself. What drove me, because I'm very history oriented and I like the stories. My grandma and I, it's one of those things we just connected on, and she did a lot of the research to see if she could get us in, but it just roadblock after roadblock. It wasn't happening. And this is a good story, but I'm going to try not to cry. She passed away just like it was the Thanksgiving before all things COVID. And at that time, the last thing that we had heard was we weren't going to make it in. We just couldn't find the connection. She passed away 2 days before Thanksgiving. And I want to say it was probably 2 or 3 days before Christmas. I got a phone call that said, I don't know how it happened, but here it is. You're all connected and you're in. And I 100% know that that was my grandma playing chess from the other side, pieces together. So for
Oh,
me, it's been a deeply personal journey and honoring not only the Patriot ancestors, but my grandmother, who was the story keeper, the record keeper, the storyteller in our family. So I've
oh,
sort of taken on that mantle, I guess, for our family too.
so that is very sweet. I love that story. So did you end up joining under the patriot you were seeking, the family line you thought you always had the connection to, or did you have to go through a different family line?
Well, it is the one of the ones that she was seeking. She kind of went down a few different lines. This I went in under John Philip DeHaas, who ended up being a brigadier general under Washington, and his son John Philip DeHaas Jr. Both extraordinary men in from the Lancaster area of Pennsylvania. That it's a whole long story, but it's a great story of just men of worth who really did their duty, gave up everything, and I do mean everything. But the one I'm really excited about right now is my supplemental. So
Uh-huh.
my supplemental one is Captain William Shippen, and he would be the son-in-law of Brigadier General DeHaas. And Captain William Shippen, I like to say he's a legal pirate because basically he was. But he, at a very young age, at 24, had two ships stolen from him in Philadelphia by the British, and he lost everything. He had a whole cooperage and a little store down there on the wharf across from the Tun Tavern, and he lost everything. And he joined the cause, and he became one of Washington's first Marines, and he ended up giving up his life in the Battle of Princeton. And so he has the honor of being the first U.S. Marine killed on land.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, there's a little plaque to him in his church in Philadelphia, and I'm really enamored with him right now. So I'm very excited to get that supplemental paperwork. He's a good story.
Wow, that is so much fun. And to me, I love the history. This has been a natural hobby for me to follow my family tree and the genealogy and the history surrounding it. And I had no idea if I would ever be able to make the connection. I had a cousin who had joined the SAR, the Sons of the American Revolution, through a family line that I could never actually prove. And ended up with the help of my chapter, the local chapter I was reaching out to, found me a different line to actually three generations of Quakers. So
Oh,
they weren't fighting, but they still are patriots because the oldest generation, he never left Nantucket, but he loaned money to the patriot cause. His daughter became widowed and sold supplies along with her son. So I have three Quaker generations that are all patriots.
and that's one of my favorite things about DAR is learning the stories of other people's patriots. And I do love that it's not just William Shippen on the battlefront,
Right.
because it doesn't happen in a vacuum. We need the people supplying, we need the people growing, we need all these different pieces of it. And I think it tells a really kind of an amazing story. I love that.
Well, you joined around, so 2019 puts you a little bit ahead of me, but what has been your favorite thing then, aside from the genealogy and recognizing the patriots? Because I had no idea that the DAR is as big as it is and that it is involved in as many philanthropic efforts as it really is. They do so much that I think most people don't even know.
I think that's probably accurate. I think my favorite is an ever evolving answer. It depends what I'm exposed to, because every chapter has its own little flavor, if you will, and it's very community based. And so it really kind of depends on what the needs and wants are of each area. So, gosh, like I said, I do love the personal stories, but I have had so much fun cleaning graves and taking care of a forgotten graveyard that happened here in Indiana. I love, love, love working with the youth in the essay contest. That's one of my favorite things. We just had our essay winner for our chapter stand up and give his story, and I cried because it was what does service mean to you and why is it important to being an
Mhm.
American citizen, and my heart was bursting. And I love to empower other people and get them excited. So I think right now, well, it's always the kids. Who am I kidding? It's always the kids.
No, and I think that's wonderful because you actually highlighted one of the things that I think is important because for most people, if you're not a part of the DAR, I mean, it obviously is an organization member wise for adult women, but
Mhm.
a lot of the activities, essay contests for students, this event that we're going to talk about here for students, there is still so many opportunities for young people to participate in activities and benefit from the DAR without even being a member.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, why don't we dive right in and talk about this fun event that is coming up? So, you are out in Indianapolis, just outside of
In
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, yes, the property is actually on Illinois Street, the Carolyn Scott Harrison chapter house, and it backs up to the governor's mansion. So we are kind of in the heart of Indianapolis. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And so, this is your second annual Colonial Fair sponsored by your local chapter. And I know you have a lot of exciting things going on. Why don't you just go ahead and share?
Sure. I am so excited about this year. Last year was the inaugural event, and it was just kind of an idea. And a lot of ladies said, sure, let's do it. And God bless them all because I'm not sure they knew what they were getting themselves into. But we did one day and we had a lovely turnout. We did have some of the homeschool community show up. And I think everyone had a great time because it was a lot of hands-on history. So because it was an inaugural event and because it was relatively small, we had the opportunity to get a lot of feedback. And the biggest piece of feedback was that people really honestly felt transported back in time. They felt like they were part of an early American village. So this year we took that little tidbit and we just built and expounded upon it. So what we've created is Middletown, USA, a fictional town in early America, and we're celebrating 1775. So the way we have this set up is much like a colonial village where you'll have the residential area and families will get to go and see all kinds of different life ways. There's voyageurs, there's a frontier family, there's a couple of Native Americans. We have kind of a lower sort that does laundry for a living. We have a middling to an upper sort that makes paper and have pet macaws. So there's all these different ways of living that people will get to interact and talk with people. Then we have our town square, which is the front and center area where we have our little main stage. And the town square has anything you would find in a town square. We've even got a pillory. And I would encourage people to bring their siblings because you can put your siblings in the pillory and throw fruit at them. Stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all kinds of cool things going on. Great photo ops for sure. But you're learning about crime and punishment, and we have a whole thing about it and the different crimes like, kissing in public, so really fun things like that. Then we've got the main stage, and on the main stage, we're having a lot of youth come and participate, but we will have a fife and drum corps. We've got little fiddlers coming. We also have 2 different Junior American Citizens projects, which would be one of the mandates of DAR. So we'll have one each day for elementary age and one for junior high and high school age, where you're going to learn what it means to be a junior American citizen and have the opportunity to earn that certificate and do a little service project. So super fun things. I've got military drills, so kids can run around with the wooden guns and they will learn some of the military drills. And then we have the industrial side. And the industrial side is something I'm really, really excited about because this whole fair was born out of the Betsy Ross Sewing Guild. So what that amounts to is we're very textile oriented. And
Okay.
so if you walk the gamut of the industrial part of town, you will see wool to weave. You will see the sheep and get to pet the sheep. You will get to sort the wool. You can card the wool. You can spin the wool. You can weave the wool. We're working on the dyeing of the wool, but then you will get to weave it. And then you will see people making blankets and clothing out of it. We have embroidery. We have the same thing going on with flax to linen and cotton to cotton. So a really unique experience and all very, very hands-on, which I think is the coolest.
Wow. I mean, this is a lot more than I ever expected. And I know that this is your second year, you've expanded it. Um, that's quite an endeavor. You must have a massive team.
A huge team. And the coolest thing about this team is everybody's volunteer.
Yep.
Everybody's doing it because they're just passionate about their craft and about sharing it with the youth and really getting everybody interested and excited about America turning 250 years old. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So it is a 2-day event this year. Is it the same on each day? I know that one day it is open to the public, but
Yes.
I know you've got your focus on school groups kind of on Friday. But for homeschool families, what do they need to know about attending?
So Friday, we have dedicated the day to homeschool families. And so Saturday will be open to the general public, and there will be some same things going on, and then there will be some different things going on each day. So we have a couple of other things that are happening on Friday that are in the works that will be geared for students per se. And
Mhm.
then there will be some other things going on Saturday. Most of the differentiation is in the entertainment lineup. One thing, we have a dulcimer gathering. So if anybody wants to learn how to play the dulcimers, you can learn to
Oh,
play the
wow.
dulcimers. But they will only be able to be there on Saturday. Some other things that I really want to highlight, we have this little thing called Where's Georgie? We have little eagles that have scampered about, and so
Mhm.
this is good for the littles, right? That they can still participate. Maybe they're not going to be weaving, but they can find little baby eagles and earn a prize. We also have what I'm calling tavern talks, and historical figures will be coming into the tavern and sharing their story and doing Q&A with people. We've got a spy mission. A
Oh,
spy mission. Oh yes, you can help the patriots. And that was the most popular thing last year, was the spy mission. So we're very happy to bring a new spy mission back this year. And then the other thing that I really would love to highlight, as people are planning to come, especially if you're coming from far away, we have a play that's going to be unfolding throughout the course of the day called News of the Day. And this will be different on Friday versus on Saturday. And it will start with the town crier letting us know the latest and greatest from the King George. And then throughout the day, there will be little pieces going on that will be emulating some of the events that happened in 1775, specifically in America. And at the end of the day, it will culminate with some tensions, some very high tensions. And this is our little homage to what happened in Lexington and Concord. So to be prepared for that, if you have some littles, there will not be fisticuffs, but there will be close. You will see the engagement of how it escalates so quickly. And the shot heard around the world, and with some very, I don't want to give away, but it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
wow.
So
That's a
it's
lot.
kind
So
of cool.
basically, stay to the end of the day, is what you're saying.
Stay till the end of the day. Uh-huh. Yeah, stay till the end of the day and bring a Kleenex because it's going to be pretty
Oh, okay. Well, don't you have to have a period appropriate Kleenex?
No, I'll let you slide on this one.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. So that's really exciting. So where can our families go to get specific information about the event, get pre-registered? Because it's a free event, but you
Correct.
do want people to pre-register.
We do want people to pre-register. That helps us make sure that we've got all the supplies that we need each day. And it also helps us kind of gauge like where the audience truly is coming. We already have quite a few families coming for homeschool day, which is awesome. So, but everything you will want to find is on colonialfair.org. And there is more stuff going up by the day. And but you can kind of get the general gist of it right now. But at some point, I will get the whole map up.
Okay.
And we will have Chick-fil-A on site. So Chick-fil-A, that
That
is kind of one of our fundraisers that helps us put
Yep.
this on. So we're going to encourage participation in Chick-fil-A, and very important, fried chicken is period correct.
I did not know that. But
There will
that's
be a
amazing.
time to tell you all about it.
I mean, offering Chick-fil-A is like laying out bait for homeschool families, right? It's just like lure us in. We know how to we know how to get there.
Perfect.
Yes. So just to make sure whenever you're listening to this, so we're recording in February, this event is May 9th and 10th.
Yes, ma'am. It's Mother's
Okay.
Day weekend, but not on Mother's Day because I do not want to anger the mothers.
Absolutely. And so whenever you're listening to this, you can go to the website, but you can also, if you're coming to our conference in March, which I hope you all are, you can talk to some of the people from the DAR about the event because they'll be there as well, putting on some presentations for our Learning Express kiddos at the event. And they'll have a booth where you can learn more about the DAR and this event as well.
Yes. And I'll be
Okay,
there
well,
Saturday for the conference.
awesome. That's great. I'll be there the whole time. So, yes. So, you alluded to it, and we want to end by talking about something that hopefully everyone will start talking about as we move later into the year, and that is America 250. We're coming up on a very important kind of landmark time as we look back at America's history. And so it's not just the DAR. This is a national kind of effort to recognize this period in time. But what do you want to share about that? And what might your chapter be doing? What is the state doing? What do you want people to know?
Sure. DAR is very intimately involved in America 250, as you might expect, both nationwide, statewide, and local. And, the purpose of all the committees are to commemorate this special time in our nation's history, and they're planning activities with community involvement everywhere. So Colonial Fair is sponsored by America 250, and there will be members of the coalition at state level. There will be attending because it's exactly what we're trying to do. Because I think a lot of people think of America 250 as July 4th, 2026, and that's it. But again, it's like going full circle back to what we were talking about, material culture. That's this bit of information, and it's not in context. You need to look at the whole thing, and we'll be celebrating America. Well, we're in it now. We're definitely in it now because at this point in time, 250 years ago, the Boston Massacre has already happened. The Boston Tea Party has already happened. And kind of the next big thing that happens is Lexington and Concord. And that's why we're focusing on that on the fair. But America 250, there will be events going on all over the state, and we will be happy to be publicizing those. And you'll find out a lot of that information at the fair as well.
Wonderful. And again, if I think for homeschool families, anytime you can take your studies outside of the books, books have their place. I love books. I adore books. But anytime you can connect that with something that's tangible, something that's more of an experience for your kids, that's what they're going to remember.
Absolutely. Which is why also, not to plug in one more thing, but I'm going to plug in one more thing.
Okay.
At the exit tent, we're going to have a couple of those little adventures that you get to take with you. So it's not going to stop after you experience Middletown.
Oh, that is so much more. That's so much fun. So your chapter, I believe, is is it the biggest one in the state?
We are the biggest one in the state, and Carolyn Scott Harrison is a chapter that is largely because she was our first president general.
Okay.
But I will tell you that there are very many chapters participating in this event, and so you're going to see DAR members from all over the place participating, which is kind of fun to connect with everybody.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And again, you don't have to belong to the biggest chapter. I belong to a very mid-size, small. We're growing, but down where I live, and they're also different. It's also fun, and as you said, every chapter takes on their unique flavor. People join because they want to connect with other women. They join because they're into American history. They may join because they're into genealogy. You may have a family member that joins just because you join, like my mother. Like she's just there because I'm there. And so, but it's fun. It is something that you can share within your own family, and take on whatever part of the organization that you feel passionate about.
Right. And there's no wrong answer. You participate in the way that makes sense for you, and as much or as little as what makes sense for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, do you have anything else you want to share with everybody before we wrap up our time? It's been so fun to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. No, I think we hit all the bullet points. I'll be really excited to see people at the state conference, and I'll be there. I will look very different than what I look like now because I will be a historical character. But please come up and talk to me. I'm a big fan of homeschooling. I did it for a number of years.
Yes, well, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in your period dress. That is the only way I had seen you before today. And so seeing the real you on Zoom versus the period piece that I saw you in at the last event, but it'll be fun. And kudos to those reenactors who do this in the heat. And I can't imagine putting on all those many layers, as you have shared with us at the event that I was at, how many layers all of these historical costumes entail. And it's a lot for an outdoor event.
It is, but it's all natural fibers. And so they actually breathe pretty well, and you dress appropriately, linen when it's hot and wool when it's not hot. So, yeah, but you're right. Yeah, it's just a different frame of mind, you know.
Well, you do it because you're passionate about it, and that's what
Yeah.
it takes. Yeah.
Yes, man.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you very much again, and we look forward to seeing you in person in March. And I hope that as many of our families as possible will come join and be a part of the second annual Colonial Fair and stick with us as America 250, all the celebrations going forward. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks.